for a great matchup tonight. The Fleet and Sceptres are separated by just 2 points thanks to Boston's 9-game point streak. Let's go in between the pipes where we have the reigning PWHL goaltender of the year in net once more, Kristen Campbell, making her 8th straight start. She's also had 8 consecutive games allowing fewer than 2 goals or fewer per game. Erin Frankel, not to be outdone, stellar numbers as well. What Courtney Kessel tell us? She said, defense and Erin Frankel will win us a championship.
That's a pretty good formula. And Boston, despite the fact that they have improved offensively, are still really good defensively. And obviously that'll be a key component tonight against the Toronto team that can score.
Here we go from Agganis Arena in Boston. Fleet control, trying to break out of their own zone. Fan on the pass, and now finally able to get it up to DiGirolamo, who sends it in for Boston.
If you haven't played in a while, keeping it simple early and letting the puck do the hard work is a big key. And get your feet moving and watch for Boston to move as many pucks as they can north quick, get a forecheck established, get all 4 lines on the ice and get their feet moving.
The old rest versus rust argument, right?
Absolutely. Not an argument, actually. I think a proven theory at this point.
Well, Courtney Kessel said that starting on time has been a key point of emphasis for her team lately. And I see here, the power play surprisingly favors Boston, but Toronto has actually just started to cool off after a blistering start. Speaking of blistering, how about that shot from Hillary Knight? Campbell making an early save against one of the superstars on Boston. Morin rings it around the boards deep tonight. Toppany from below the goal line. Finds Knight. Back to Toppany. Bothered by Miller. Toppany tried to feed the point and Morin. Instead, it's taken away. Back comes Daryl Watts. Watts loses it and Toppany collects.
One of the reasons Boston has had such a good streak lately is exactly what you just saw. Their track backs have been really good. Good speed, good coming back through the middle, making sure their sort outs are good. And when they see a one-on-one scenario down low, they quickly get numbers on it so there's nothing dangerous behind the goal line.
Dangerous there for Frankel, who came out aggressively to play it, had to hustle back in between the pipes. Boston gains his zone. Toppany collects the loose puck, makes a move, but lost it.
It's amazing how many times when a defenseman airmails a puck out of their own zone, it winds up turning into a chance at the other end. It's like fielding a punt. You can't watch what's coming at you. You've got to watch the ball or the puck in the air, depending on the sport you're talking about. And all of a sudden it lands. Now you're under pressure, and it's hard to make a play.
Magia applying pressure now for Boston. Good forecheck by the Fleet. Finley Rattray in a battle against the boards. Back up high for Greco. Greco tried to find Maloney streaking toward the net. Now it's Turnbull. Turning on the Jets through the neutral zone. Banks it off the boards. Collected by Gable. Back and forth we go with some end-to-end action here early. These two teams know what's on the line. Just a couple games left for each of them before the World Championship break. And then only 3 games remaining per team to finish out the season after that. A chance here for Boston, but Emma Woods, fresh off the bench, takes care of business.
Good stick by Gable there. She didn't engage physically.
Izzy Daniels streaking toward the net. Puck still loose in front. Frankel finally finds it and able to freeze it.
In the offensive zone for Boston a moment ago, Toppany's a left shot, Knight is a right. So when they take the face-off on the left-hand side here, watch the quick little scramble. Knight comes breaking through for a quick shot here. Great execution. It's a set play, and Knight's hit Pater on it a couple of times. Toronto's fourth line gets a kick in the can here. Frankel will bounce some rebounds back, but she's so good regarding second saves and balance that even when she has to scramble, she maintains pretty good net presence.
Toronto wins the draw in the O-zone. Went on a fast, sends it deep into the corner. Now Emma Woods checks over her shoulder, feeds Daniel. Maggie Connors tried to send it on net, steered aside by Frankel. Back comes Boston. The pass disrupted by Connors on her way to the bench. And both sides will go for a change. Daryl Watts scoops up the loose puck. Tried the short side from below the goal line.
I love that play when the shooter's behind the goal line. They don't have anything.
Centering pass, and Gosling with a shot right on. Turned aside by Frankel.
And they put one off the side of the net to try to get it out to the slot.
Another chance right in front. Hannah Miller couldn't quite handle the pass. Toronto buzzing early. Back comes Rattray. Has Saulnier with her. Saulnier gains the blue line. A good stick by Allie Monroe.
I like that play to Saulnier. Saulnier's got good speed to get around the edge.
Turnover here, and that shot just missed. Jill Saulnier coming over to Boston midway through the season by way of a trade with the New York Sirens. And she has fit in seamlessly here so far. Gosling going toward the net. Frankel kicks it out, and we're going to get our first penalty of the night.
Troy Ryan talked earlier about wanting to play better 5-on-5 and harder 5-on-5 to do more of this, and that is draw penalties. And when you play strong in hard areas, you tend to create situations where players take stick penalties. So here they drive the net. Gosling's real good with a good offensive stick, and she forces a penalty. Talking to Rachel Flanagan, the assistant coach in Toronto, she said Gosling's really figured out how long she is, how long her stick is, and how to use it better. And that she's getting many more puck touches simply by understanding the combination of how quickly she can be in terms of moving her feet and how long she is getting her stick on loose pucks.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel, Paper Towel, power through tough messes. Sarah Nurse, second game back from injury. Back on that top power play unit. Renata Fast driving toward the net, tried the short side. Spooner was there net front, but it banked off a body and out.
What's funny is Miller, 34 on the left point, becomes the forgotten player almost with Nurse coming back.
Watts, centering pass, disrupted. Good hold by Hannah Miller. Miller goes cross ice for Nurse. Nurse up high now to Fast. One-timer by Daryl Watts, didn't miss by much. Back to Fast at the point. Hands off to Nurse. Nurse, and a save by Frankel.
Great job by Hannah Miller, 34. We just talked about her. She went from the left point to the right point. Great read on the puck coming up to the wall. So she tracks it down. Now look at how she's Sceptres. She has good puck protection. And now is able to move a puck into the slot, which Toronto does really well, just couldn't capitalize on. Erin Frankel has to make a big stop on Nurse. And the interesting thing is, as Natalie mentioned earlier, with them now back to full strength lineup-wise, Spooner's back, Carter's back, Nurse is back. So all of a sudden, units that were playing together as units of 5 in the power play, that's starting to change as they start to plug in what they hoped it would have looked like in November.
Right.
And it's coming together now here in late March.
Toronto gains his own once more, time winding down on the advantage. Boston player lost her stick. It's Greco, and she's able to get it back. Penalty is over. 2 shots on the power play for Toronto. Unable to beat Frankel so far. Malte lost an edge momentarily, gets right back up and tries to get it back. Meanwhile, the Fleet trying to break out. Turnover, it's Spooner off her backhand. Kicked around in front of the net, and the Fleet skated out. Here's Sophie Shirley. Sends it on, steered aside by Campbell.
The analytics will back it up. But Toronto and Boston are 2 of the better teams in the PWHL at getting off the wall and into high-scoring areas quickly, whether it's shooting through the hash marks, over the dot and into the slot, or a dive down off the blue line into a good scoring chance area, grade A. These 2 teams are really good in that department when you watch them constantly.
Some physicality ratcheting up a bit here. Saw a heavy collision between Kelly Babstock and Sarah Nurse. Boston likes to play that physical style as that shot from Morin found the pad of Kristen Campbell.
Each team's had a chance with one of their defenders to try to get the puck out of the zone, and it was held into the point. Miller, a few moments ago, Boston just held one in, and it's really important to use the windshield here to get pucks out or make it harder for the defenseman to corral it, having to use their hand, or the defender having to use their hand to put it down.
Renata fast. Good stick by Peshava. Now Megan Keller sends it up for Boston before getting hit heavily along the boards. Keller's usually the one dishing out the heavy hits.
It was unique to watch her, just pull up some shifts and watch her on a shift-by-shift basis. Keller is so calm, so composed, and you're right, can either dish it or receive it and still be able to make a play, because she doesn't panic when she's under pressure.
That shot from Toppany disrupted at the last moment by Skamura. Right in front, Knight, right on, and Campbell somehow keeps it out. Hillary Knight, 9 points in her last 4 games. Toppany centers for Knight, just missed.
Knight has made a living this season in that very area where she took the shot from and then almost got the pass from Toppany.
Morin right on, save Campbell. Gaining speed is Jessie Comper through the neutral zone. Comper played her college hockey here at BU, Walter Brown Arena.
That's a classic
just
ball.
Down the street.
Oh, what a great place.
We'll step aside momentarily. Good chances for both sides in a great matchup here at Aganis. Scoreless so far here at Aganis Arena in Boston. Courtney Kessel telling us really the only difference between last year's team around this time this year is the goals are going in.
To me, the player that has benefited the most from the way Boston is playing is Hillary Knight. When you watch the goals that she has scored this year, they're basically all from the same area, and they're basically all the same manner. It's been remarkable, her ability to find soft ice and score.
Hannah Brand tries to scoop it up. It goes the other direction. Sophie Shirley looking for Rattray. Broken up by Emma Woods. Brand's unable to settle a bouncing puck, and Connor skates it out. Now Daniel will flip it in. Lauren Gable tried to stretch the ice for Rattray, scooped up instead by Harmon, and the Sceptres turn it the other direction.
Rattray is as good an F1 on the forecheck, first forward in on the forecheck, as any in the PWHL. Great reads, can read the puck on a stick, can read where the toe caps are, and knows when to attack.
Daryl Watts looking for Miller in front, went off the skate of Brown. Comes all the way back into the Sceptres zone.
And it seems like every time a defender's got a puck on their stick in their own zone and they're starting to make a move and they get their toe caps pointed towards the wall, she knows exactly when to jump and is able to create some turnovers off it.
Here's Renata Fast. Hands it off to her D partner, and Harmon skates it through the neutral zone. Now feeds Miller. Megan Keller will send it in now for the Fleet. Keller consistently one of the best D in the game. They've been trying to find the best D partner for her all season. Babstock gains his zone now for Boston. Her shot deflects wide.
There's an art to playing with a multi-dimensional defender, especially ones that can play offensive and ones that can be a little predictable in that area. You've got to know when to stay home, you've got to know when to take middle ice and she's going to take off down the wall, and you've got to know that at times you're going to be facing an odd player rush coming back the other way. So it means your antennas are always up for the unpredictable, and it takes a unique player to do that.
Well, for the second straight game, Keller's D partner is Jessica DiGirolamo. Kind of interesting to contrast it with the Sceptres top D pairing. Savannah Harmon and Renata Fast, who played together in college and have ridiculous chemistry.
And it's the same kind of thing, because Fast has become much more of a 200-foot offensive-minded player at the pro level than she was at the collegiate level. So it was the same thing to her. They got lucky by being able to pair her with somebody who has some familiarity with her game, but her game has so evolved since the time that the two of them played together. She had to readjust to the way that Fast plays.
Yeah. Girolamo brings it around the boards now for the Fleet. Breaking out is Puga. Puga joined the team, about 6 weeks or so ago. He's been a steady presence in the Sceptres lineup ever since. Crunched along the boards there by Maloney.
Great hit by Maloney. Legal, had her dialed in, stepped in, separated her check from the puck. Great play.
Mueller goes skate to tape. Finds Keller, who joins the rush, and now Keller jamming away to keep it alive. Hannah Brandt checks over her shoulder before receiving a hit. Back comes Daryl Watts, in with speed.
Pressure by Shawsfall defending there, covering Keller.
Brandt, centering pass, Rattray, save, Campbell!
That whole play was made because Shawsfall tracked back so well and made a great defensive play.
And that one off the post. My goodness. Perhaps the best chances of the game so far for the Fleet.
Great offense by Boston at one end, and it's all set up by really good defense in their own end, led by Maloney, who's been terrific in the back end, and Boston goes to work and almost hits Bader.
Kristen Campbell locked in once more, making that save with Rattray streaking toward her.
As good a goalie as there is in the league in terms of building the wall down low, getting pads down, getting stick down. Good use of the paddle down move off the post as well. Uses her size incredibly effectively.
It is an interesting contrast between her and the opposite netminder, Erin Frankel, who might be the smallest goalie in the PWHL, but plays much larger than her physical size.
Here's the thing with Frankel. Frankel could play technically, but because of the smaller stature, has to be an athlete and uses it.
Bass tries a shot, blocked on the way. Morin scoops it up, sends it ahead for Saulnier. Saulnier tried to keep the play alive, instead Fast says no.
As Saulnier was coming towards the bench, he was coming a little slowly, and Brandt literally pulled her into the bench to avoid too many players on the ice.
Looking for that first goal scorer tonight. 4.5 to play here as we are going to get another penalty, I believe.
It's going to be Turnbull, and I believe it's going to be hitting from behind or boarding. Actually, it's going to be interference, but that works too. Turnbull went
under penalty interference.
Went a great distance to connect on her check when the puck was not really in proximity to the player, and that forces officials to put their hands up. The puck gets moved. It's behind the player. Here it comes, and that could have been any one of the three. Interference would work, and Boston gets on the power play now with the offensive zone setup again. Face off, Toppany, Knight on the inside, ready to jump through.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel, Paper Towel. Toppany. Up high now for Morin. Morin walks the line, goes back to Toppany. Down low, Maloney couldn't get the shot off. Mueller able to feed Knight from below the goal line. Toppany rings it around the boards once more to Mueller. Over to Knight. Quick touch pass up to Morin across for Toppany, and they play catch. Morin back to Toppany. Down low for Maloney. Bothered by Allie Monroe. Mueller looking for a lane. Goes cross ice for Toppany. Toppany! Shot blocked. Rebound comes out. And they score! A bouncing puck. And it's Hillary Knight once more.
Third time in the last 5 games, the Boston power play has gotten them the first goal of the game. And that is big-time money to count on your power play to open up the scoring. Nice pass through the seam. Toppany originally made a really good play up top because she went up high to get a puck and then drove downhill. That set the whole thing up because As she was able to pick up speed, she drew some coverage. Puck going to the front of the net. Hillary Knight, all season long, has lived in that area. I'm starting to call that Knight's office, because that area from the top of the paint to the bottom of the hash marks has been all hers all season, and she has capitalized on a lot of goals there.
I like Knight's office. We know about the OV office.
That's right.
That is Hillary Knight's office, one of the best goal scorers in the women's game.
If she spent any more time in that area, she'd be paying rent.
14th of the season. Only Marie-Philippe Poulin has more across all PWHL skaters.
Boston Goalie.
And that is now her 10th point in just 5 games. Rattray tries to make a move. Another shot right on as DiGirolamo's blast was gobbled up by Campbell. Knight gets it back again, top of the slot, into the breadbasket. How did that puck come loose? Campbell thought she had it. And lucky to escape without another goal. Saulnier goes back to Knight. Campbell tried to grab it with the glove and unable to do so.
35 years old, fighting off checks, using her shoulders to get inside ice, just playing like a true pro and a true world-class player that she is, and it has been awesome to watch this season.
And Boston's going to go right back to the power play after Saulnier took a big hit from behind.
Toronto number 12, minor penalty boarding.
So Monroe is going to get the gate.
Yeah, they entered third best on the power play as Knight sends a blast. Didn't miss by much.
By the way, third time that topping off the draw to Knight cutting through play has worked. Twice on the power play, once at even strength, and they have got that established.
Yes, they have. This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. Topping gaining speed through the neutral zone, sends it in. Goes to Mueller, banks it off the boards, over to Morin. Back down low from Mueller to Maloney. Now Morin feeds Knight. Knight leaves it for Mueller. Back to Morin at the point. Toppany, cross ice for Mueller. Toppany once more, top of the slot, tried to find Maloney. Knight off her backhand, didn't miss by much. Maloney and Morin couldn't handle the pass, but it's still able to keep it in the zone.
Toronto's tired. They've been out there a long time.
Now getting a much needed change. Still 45 seconds to go on the Fleet power play.
All of that offensive zone play on the power play was set up by a very simple little deposit of the puck down the wall along the kick plate that Toronto couldn't pick up.
We've got contact to the red line in the center of the ice, and it looks like it's going to be a penalty on Teresa Shopsall. So now we'll skate 4-on-4 for the next 30 seconds. We're in the final minute of the period. Back up high for Flanagan. Flanagan takes a shot. It bounces dangerously toward the cage, but just wide.
I found Toronto to be very good 4-on-4 this year with their speed and their hands. They've made a lot happen 4-on-4 with that little bit of that extra ice.
Time winding down at 4-on-4. And now another power play will begin for Toronto. 25 seconds to go in the period. This power play brought to you once more by Royale Tiger Towel. Sarah Nurse just crashed heavily into the boards. Remember, she's just playing in her second game since returning from an injury that she suffered during the rivalry series. Fast. Hands it off. Darryl Watts trying to go back to Fast, just out of the reach. And the horn sounds on period 1. This one's shaping up to be a great matchup between the Sceptres and the Fleet. We'll catch you up on all the highlights from period 1, get some player reaction, and share some news around the league next. Obviously, age is just a number when it comes to number 21. Now 10 points in her last 5 games. 27 points on the season. Just over half of those are goals with 14. She will be a part of Team USA at the upcoming Women's World Championship. And as I mentioned, already has 4 Olympic medals.
Boston starts shorthanded here. Toronto will have about a minute on the power play, and sometimes coming out of the locker room on the power play, you can come out a little sleepy.
Darryl Watts gains his own with speed, tried to go to Nurse, but it went through her skates. Sarah Nurse able to get it back. Rattray takes it away. Grant with the clear.
Yeah, you sit in the locker room for 13, 14 minutes or so, and then have to come out and be at full speed right off the get-go. There's a little water issue as fast loses a puck in the puddle. But sometimes it's really hard to be really sharp that early at that tempo.
Megan Keller trying to catch up to the loose puck. Natalie Spooner battling for possession alongside her. Now Monroe finds Watts. Taken away by Toppany, who turns it up. Now Nurse takes it right back. Monroe gains his own for the Sceptres. Power play is over, so another good kill for the Fleet. No shots allowed on that PK.
You know, it's funny, talking about Knight's scoring prowess. She's got 3 goals on breakaways this year. She's had a ton of breakaways. So one of the things I think Boston does, it's a little bit of an underrated part of their game, is how well they stretch the rink. A lot of breakout passes, a lot of home run passes, and they're sneaky getting behind opponents' defense.
Knight tries to chop it into neutral ice and does so. Saulnier trying to race to catch up to the loose puck. Kristen Campbell calmly steers it aside. Back up high now to Morin. Morin takes a shot, fought off by Campbell, but it's loose. And the Sceptres able to clear the zone after a bit of chaos. Mueller fires a shot right off the draw that went just wide of the net.
And she didn't give her defender a great angle to pick the puck up. Like personally, I might have put it the other way on the weak side, because it would have given the defender a little bit more space to create a better receiving angle and pickup angle to turn and go. It's the littlest things that sometimes can make the biggest difference in this game.
Go!
Maloney will dump it in before heading to the bench for a change as Mueller is crunched along the boards by Renata Fast. Shirley over to Babstock, try to go back to Shirley. Instead, Harmon takes it away. Babstock forced the turnover. Campbell aggressive out to play it. And now a broken stick that's actually behind Kristen Campbell in the net. Both sides aggressive at creating turnovers. Izzy Daniel thought she might have drawn a penalty there, but no call. Now Shirley sends one off the pads of Campbell. Here's Rattray. Rattray centering pass for Agia. Bounced over her stick. Rattray in the corner, goes to Hannah Brandt. Back to Rattray, tried to center in front, bounced off the pads of Campbell, but stayed out.
No surprise, Boston is the #1 forecheck team in terms of their success creating offensive zone takeaways and recovering pucks off the forecheck, and you are seeing it tonight. They are playing to their identity in that metric. And we thank our friends at Sports Logic for that information.
Absolutely. The game within the game.
Sometimes analytics don't tell you a ton, and then sometimes they can send you down a rabbit hole. And that was one I got on.
I feel like you've been down a few rabbit holes.
You can sit in that portal forever.
Here comes Rattray trying to break out now for Boston.
Toronto in the neutral zone. Right in front of the bed. Look, watch this play. Watch 22 and white. Great stick here. Leans in, gets the stick out, creates a poke check, and turns it around the other way. Really smart read by Maggie Connors. She's been playing a lot with Emma Woods and Izzy Daniel on a 4th line. Jill Saulnier has been on the left, coming over that trade from New York. And what does Saulnier bring? She brings a little grit to her game. What does Rattray bring? A little grit to her game. Both players are skilled. They both have hard skill, and they both love to get in and work the walls, which absolutely benefits Toppany and Knight.
Courtney Kessel told us, I think before the first game of the season, she wants other teams to fear going into the corners with us. That is the gritty identity that this Fleet team has. That shot toward the net blocked in front.
And Jamie, that number you bring up, or that note you bring up, certainly plays into what we just talked about with their forecheck success and the amount of puck recoveries they come up with, leading the PWHL in that category.
Here comes Fast with speed. Up for Daniel. Sends one on net, steered aside by Frankel. Now Mueller off the boards, looking for Gable. And a Shelbin tries to ring it around for Daniel. Shelbin, recently acquired via trade with Montreal. Mueller has it taken away. Greco with a pretty heavy hit on Emma Malta, and they tangle. Now Pechavo sends it in deep. Campbell back to hand it off to Allie Monroe. 6.5 gone here in the middle frame. Toronto is one of the top offensive teams for most of the season, but lately the offense has dried up. That shot steered aside by Campbell.
Yeah, they like the way they're defending. So they're going through a phase where one area is improving while another area slows down a little bit.
Keller a blast off the skate of Monroe. They jam away as Keller looks to get the loose puck. Flanagan got there first. Sceptres have played back-to-back games with a 2-1 win, finding ways to win despite scoring just 2, maybe 3 goals per game. Babstock tried to get it to Shirley. A little too much on that pass, and now a shot off her backhand, deflected. Lengthy battle along the boards. Magia.
Is it me, or is Boston winning every 50-50? And they have been terrific being above the puck. And that means being in a defensive posture no matter where you are on the ice. They have been above pucks all over the place. And it's one of the reasons why they're gaining more offensive zone time and why they're pushing the puck north quick.
Here comes Hannah Miller. Has Watts with her, brings it around the boards for Miller below the goal line. Miller off her backhand, a pass across to Connor, and Frankel grabs it with the glove. Good chance for the Sceptres, but it's still a 1-0 lead for Boston. Some of these girls in the stands watching their favorite team eagerly.
It is so cool when I talk to the hockey parents of some of the female players in college. And, the first question I get is, hey, do you think she can play in the PWHL? It's a cool discussion.
It was a dream that never really quite existed until very recently.
Needless to say, it's put a lot of players on my radar screen, I'll tell you that much.
Harmon slings it across the Fast. Turnbull from top of the slot, kicked out by Frankel. Harmon now at the blue line, walking in. Tried to find Skamura for the tip. Went behind the net. Saulnier gets it back, and she will skate it out. And to the neutral zone. Hands it off to Morin. These two teams will meet one more time in the regular season. And if the playoffs started now, they would actually face each other in the first round, or the semifinals.
There's something about Boston and Montreal in a playoff series. There's something about Boston and Toronto in a playoff series. It just makes you think old days.
Battle for the loose puck, scooped up by Daniel. Sticks with it. Emma Woods right into the glove of Frankel. Oh my goodness!
This was perfect Emma Woods, who just tracked the play, kept her stick down, and then jumped into a spot where she could be available, and a really good shot. Watch Woods as she tracks through, just stays with it, stick down, and a quick delivery to the net. Almost beats Frankel. Didn't waste a whole lot of time playing with it. She didn't have a whole lot of room.
Icing the call, so it comes right back into the Toronto zone, and a defensive zone face-off win for the Sceptres.
What makes that save by Frankel even more special? Sometimes when you're not in the rhythm, it's hard to make a big save when you haven't seen a whole lot of rubber. Goaltending is a very rhythm, very volume type position. It's easier to play when you're constantly under barrage because it just keeps you in the flow of the game. So sometimes when you're standing around, you don't see a puck for 3-4 minutes. It's hard to make those quick reaction saves because mentally you can fade away a little bit.
And after the Sceptres had just 6 shots in the first period, they now have 7 in the second period, and we've played less than 11 minutes. Gosling gains the zone now for the Sceptres. Centers for Miller, and another save by Frankel. The Fleet netminder putting on a show tonight. Darryl Watts trying to keep it alive for Toronto. Hannah Miller has it on her stick. Feeds Harmon at the blue line. One-timer Connor blocked by Saulnier and comes back out, and another save for Erin Frankel. Erin Frankel showing why she is one of the best in the world. Keeps it a 1-0 lead for Boston.
Welcome back inside the Aganis Arena here with Boston Fleet head coach Courtney Kessel. Coach, you told us before the game, playing with urgency is the most important thing. Are you seeing the Fleet play with that fire?
Yeah, a much better first period. That's exactly what we were looking for.
And how are you seeing Erin Frankel keep your team in this game?
Again, she's tremendous. Best goalie in the world.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Short and sweet, but
to the point.
Speaks the truth.
But one thing I loved Courtney Kessel saying about her goaltender was she's not high maintenance. And it's a great line about a goalie.
Well, Erin Frankel is certainly living up to her reputation tonight. Megan Keller turning it up the other direction. And by the way, these two netminders may very well be on opposite ends of the ice when Team USA faces off against Team Canada in just a few weeks at the Women's World Championship.
I could watch USA, Canada women's games all day. Those games are so good, so dramatic, so intense, so high level, and it's just pure destination television when they play on the international stage.
Troy Ryan, the head coach of Team Canada. Plenty of Sceptres on his squad this year.
Boston has earned themselves another power play as they drove middle lane quick, grabbed the line, forced Toronto to pull them down. And Toronto
penalty number 14 for hooking.
Toronto's taken 3 penalties in this game. They probably want them all back. And every coach will tell you, if you take a penalty on a hockey play, that's fine. But it's the stick penalties, the reaching penalties, the penalties where you're not above the puck and not good defensive posture that really bother coaches and hand teams opportunities. Boston gives them a chance to extend the lead.
Boston 1 for 2 on the advantage so far with 2 total shots. And this power play is brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. Fleet win the draw, back to Morin at the point. Cross now for Toppany, who goes down low for Maloney. Toppany down low once more. Maloney tried to get the shot off, couldn't get all of it.
Maloney plays a nice roll down there on the goal line low off to the right side of the goaltender because she's the last pass most of the time when it goes high to goal line to bumper where Knight is sitting and waiting.
Toppany will gain the zone for the Fleet. Chases the puck in the corner, checks over his shoulder, feeds Knight. Now Morin off the boards, down low to Knight. Quick pass over to Maloney. Nifty little pass by Knight to Mueller, and now the one-timer and a save by Campbell. Morin gets it back. Boston reloads. Toppany's shot blocked. Knight banks it down low once more from Maloney, but Turnbull has it. And now Coffer will skate it out.
Boston this year has got 13 goals on the power play. They've given up 10. Always great when you're a plus in that category. They're a +3 overall this season in that area.
Here comes Pesheva. From below the goal line, feeds Gable. Second unit on now with time winding down on the Fleet advantage. Gable brings it around the boards. Trying to find Pelkey. Skamura lost an edge for the Sceptres, but precious seconds ticking away on the penalty kill.
You know, if you're going to blow a tire, that's a good place to do it, right? Fall down the puck, kill time.
The crowd expressing its displeasure with that. Bluebirds coming out into the Ganis, and the penalty is over. Here's Malte. Gaining speed, gains the zone, hands off to Skamura, fanned on the shot, and DiGirolamo collects. That pass out of the reach of Hannah Brandt. These are the standings entering tonight. As we mentioned earlier, a regulation win would put Boston in the 2 spot. I said earlier it'd be a matchup of these two. That's not quite true per se, because remember, the interesting rule in the PWHL is that first place team gets to pick its opponent, adding a little intrigue to the first round matchup. Last year, the first place team, Toronto, did in fact choose the 4th place team, Minnesota. It didn't work out very well for them.
No matter how you square that up, the team that you pick to play is always going to say, oh yeah, they wanted to play us? Okay, game on.
Gia, a blast into the blocker of Campbell. Troy Ryan kind of reflecting on last season before the game tonight. I asked him how he compares last season to this year. He said, you know, last year we had that 11-game win streak. Everything was going well, but we kind of peaked too early, and we didn't have that next level come playoff time. This year there's a bit more adversity as Shopsaw sends it across for Knight. Knight tried to center for Toppany right in front. Campbell able to keep it out.
That puck just slowly made its way into a great spot. And Saulnier was there to pounce.
Another bouncing puck that gave Campbell a bit of trouble.
As a goalie, those are hard because the puck's moving so slowly, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I really want to poke check this thing here. I'm kind of in proximity to do it. But with traffic coming, you're not sure. The faster plays sometimes are easier to mentally manage than those slow rollers.
Now Morin feeds Maloney. Has Knight and Mueller with her. Maloney across, broken up. It was a good stick by Emma Malte.
And Mueller on her backhand, that's just a hard pass. Not a lot of reception room by having to turn your stick over, having to turn your hands over.
Spooner flips it through the neutral zone, glove down by Malte. Malte banks it off the boards over to Monroe. Hillary Knight, the lone goal scorer to this point of the game. Power play goal, and 5 shots in the first period alone. None so far here in the second. Blair Turnbull from below the goal line, looking for a lane. Hands off to Watts. Another save for Frankel.
Toronto's getting a lot of their low motion game going. A lot of interchanges, changing sides, making the defense soften up a little bit by looking both ways, and they've created some chances out of it.
Rattray picks up the loose puck, brings it around the boards. 2.5 to play here in the second. A much better period for Toronto overall, but nothing to show for it. Keller back to Shopsaw. DiGirolamo stick handling in. Has it on her backhand, tried to center. Turnbull says no. The Toronto captain skating through the neutral zone.
Great track back by Rattray. She just got on her horse and went and pickpocketed her check in the neutral zone to break up a rush. Another really good staple of the Boston Fleet defensively.
Now under 2 to play. Anna Shelbin Collects from behind her own net. Turns on the Jets and is bumped off the puck by Saulnier. Saulnier trying to center. Knight was there. Couldn't collect the pass cleanly. Now Pesheva. She'll send it in as we reach the final minute of this second period. Toppany across for Pelkey. Pelkey up high for Pesheva. Pesheva tries to send it on net. It bounces wide. Toronto went on a run that pulled them nearly even in shots with the Fleet, but since Boston has refound its momentum.
What's interesting is Toronto pushed. Boston didn't look like they had to bend much.
That shot sealed off by Campbell. And now Morin. Drops from Maloney. Maloney across for Brown. Brown looking for a lane just wide. Final 20 seconds here as Boston continues to apply pressure.
At 23 White, Megan Carter is totally out of gas. She can barely move the puck.
Hillary Knight down to Mueller below the goal line. Low to high, back to Mueller. 4 seconds to go. Mueller shot right on. 0.8 seconds to go, but Campbell makes the save. And the horn will sound. Hillary Knight with the only goal to this point. Stay tuned.
When I was talking with Shea Maloney, her line mate, before the game, Shea said when you're playing with Mueller, she's so skilled that she actually makes you a better player. She gives you confidence to trust your own skills and how good she is. I thought that was a pretty interesting comment.
Mueller, the first ever draft pick by Boston when she was taken in the inaugural draft, 3rd overall. And now with 18 points on the season, she sits 2nd on the team behind only Hillary Knight. Megan Keller. Crunched along the boards by Blair Turnbull. Boston able to come away with the loose puck. And as much as Boston has dominated various points of this game, the reality is it's just a 1-goal lead for the Fleet.
You know, it's funny, it's a one-shot game, but with some of the great opportunities that both of these two teams have had, you would think that one of them would have extended a lead or at least got this game tied up.
Anna Miller trying to lead the breakout for the Sceptres. Now Allie Monroe joining the rush down low. Going across for Gosling, who tried to send it on net, had Darrell Watts streaking toward Aaron Frankel.
Watts was just probing, waiting, probing, reading off the puck carrier, saved herself some ice, and then when she realized that that pass could get to the middle, she put the Jets on to get there.
Now Watts along the boards for Flanagan, able to hold for Toronto. Callie Flanagan, no stranger to the Boston area either. Spent her entire career here, from youth hockey to BC. Was actually named D of the Year for the Boston Pride back in 2023. Product out of Hudson, New Hampshire.
I like their hockey in the 603. New Hampshire's starting to produce some pretty good players too. It's a real good hockey state.
Emma Malte gains the zone now for the Sceptres. Centering pass, and Spooner's shot right on, gobbled up by Frankel.
The biggest challenge for a defender when you're playing against somebody with a long stick is trying to get it tied up with your spacing. Spooner is so good at getting that big stick open. And watch her in front of the net. She drives in, but she drives in late. Is able to get her stick under Brant's. That sneak a shot to the net that Frankel gobbles up.
Nurse versus Maloney here for the face-off, and Nurse wins it back to Connor. Maloney banks it off the boards as Mueller will skate it out now for Boston. Up ahead, it's Gable. Gable had Maloney streaking toward the net. Unable to get all of it on that shot. Maloney trying to keep the forecheck alive now for Boston. Greco. Shirley fighting through a check. Shirley centers, nobody home. Here comes Spooner. Has Malte with her. Now Malte gains the blue line, drops her Spooner. Malte brings it around the boards over to Fast. Fast, nifty little move, but defended well by Agia. Spooner right in front of Frankel, able to get the shot off, but Frankel denies her.
And I understand you want to keep play moving, you want to keep pace moving, but I think one of the biggest things in crease management is knowing when to cover the puck. Frankel generally is really good at it.
A blast by Monroe that went just wide. Held in by Flanagan, brings it around the board for Watts. Watts, and that shot dead on. Frankel had it with the glove, had some trouble with it. Now has to fight it off once more, and it's in! The Sceptres just keep coming, and they tied at 1. Daryl Watts.
Toronto just stayed on it. They win a couple of races, they get inside checks, win a couple of battles. Another rebound that gets punched into a bad spot, and now Frankel's in scramble mode, and Boston can't recover. There's the shot that floated towards the net. Frankel can't find it, gets trapped off the goal line. Another loose puck in front of the net that got put into a spot where Toronto can pounce, and they do. And from behind the net, they get this game tied up.
What a heads-up play by Daryl Watts there. Look at the overhead. Just flings it in, noticing that Frankel is at the top of the crease.
Just a good work ethic goal by the Sceptres. They didn't quit as they had a tired bunch on the ice for Boston who couldn't change with the icing. It was going to be a defensive zone face-off either way, but if the rebound gets covered that we talked about, it's a defensive zone face-off with Boston dictating the matchup.
Right.
Off the icing, they
fresh
can't.
legs.
And it cost them because they never got the puck out.
Costly mistake indeed. And we are all tied up in a whole new game. Watts with her 9th of the season. Also has a connection here to Boston. She played a few years at BC. So now the Fleet are tasked with finding their own response. Blair Turnbull gains the zone. Skamura trying to dig it out. Turnbull scoops it up, trying to go back to Skamura. Instead, Comper picks up the loose puck. Goes for a skate, and Turnbull's tried the short side. Frankel tried to squeeze it with the glove, but has had a bit of trouble in the last few minutes finding that puck. Shelvin a blast. Deflected and in! Just like that, the Sceptres take the lead.
Just a simple play by the Sceptres, throwing one to the front of the net, and they hit pay dirt. They would have battled up the blue line to keep a puck in. And just a simple shot. There's a lot of traffic and a lot of sticks on the ice. This thing hit something on the way in. Here's the shot. There's the deflection up top. It might be Skamura who gets the goal if it wasn't batted in late. Watch the tip. Stick down. It just changes the angle of the puck on Frankel, who can't get it clean. Toronto sets up a really good double screen, and Shelvin just waited. Turnbull's like another coach on the ice, and Skamura with their up-tempo game, their pace, good size in front of the net, and a good offensive stick, and uses it very well on that shot from the point to score.
Skamura played her college hockey at Northeastern here in Boston. Traded from Ottawa December 30th. So too was Harmon. Harmon in the corner, leaves it for Watts. Taken away by Saulnier. Here's Keller catching up to the loose puck.
Gotta love when your defenseman's the first one, or your defender's the first one in on the forecheck.
Megan Keller comes as advertised. But she's gassed and heads to the bench for a change, and Toronto takes over. What a turn of events. Jamie Lee Rattray was in offside. It'll come out to neutral ice. Boston has spent much of this game in the driver's seat, but in a matter of 94 seconds, the Sceptres take the lead. We'll be right back.
You talk about some of those low-scoring games. They've got 29 goals in that 9-game streak. 2 of them were shootouts pushing 31. 17 of them were scored 5-on-5. This is why I think Boston could be an absolute juggernaut moving ahead, because they can score 5-on-5. You get less power plays in the playoffs. Officiating gets a little looser. And if you're a 5-on-5 team that can score with a goalie, you can write your own ticket. That's where Boston's in pretty good shape.
Shot deflects just wide of the net. Alina Mueller up high now for Keller. Keller goes wide and off the end boards. Keller again, wide off the other side of the net. Topley, and Keller gets it back once more. Tried the shot, it was blocked on the way. DiGirolamo able to hold for Boston. Keller. Oh, tried to feed Mueller just out of her reach. Might have gone through her skates. And DiGirolamo unable to keep the puck in the zone.
A lot of history here. You see 4 Olympians from the 80 Olympic team that all played here, and some of the great names. But one of the coolest things about this place, across the street from the building, is the old baseball stadium. That used to be the home of the Boston Braves way back when. And next to it is an office building. And in that office building, which is now the PU Police Department, was where Babe Ruth signed his last professional contract.
Wow.
Jack Harker took me up there once, and you stand in that room, and it's like you just get chills. Thinking this is where Babe Ruth signed his last contract when he finished out his career with the Boston Braves.
Very cool. Major League Baseball celebrating its opening day tomorrow. More in a blast, just widen off the end boards.
Go Brewers. Just want to slip it in there.
Go Twins. And go back and forth all night. Great time of year. The women's national tournament just wrapping up. Hockey.
What a great Frozen Four that was.
Of course, the men's tournament happening in a couple weeks, and then March Madness on the basketball side. It's just a great time of year, and the hockey is certainly heating up across the PWHL as well. Renata fast. Skates all around the net, takes a shot, scores! How did that get through? Renata Fast has just given Toronto its 3rd straight goal as they lead it 3-1.
Very reminiscent of this game you and I did in New York when Toronto was there, where they just scored in bunches. Fast just stays with it. That is way, way too much room. That is just an offensive miscue on losing your check. All of a sudden, Fast came around the net, and everybody in Boston thought she was going to come up around the top of the dots. Look how she's getting defended. Gable bailed out of that little spot in front of the net. Maloney is usually great in that area.
With that, Toronto has now outshot Boston 8-0 in this 3rd period. Courtney Kessel was worried about their start. I think right now she's more concerned about their 3rd period woes.
They've just been a little heavy leg since the period started. And that could be having not played in 8 games. Like, that's where that rust factor comes in.
Rattray cuts off the pass. Harmon gets it back. Now cut off by Keller.
When you talk about the NCAA tournament on the men's and women's side for hockey, biggest complaint most coaches make is the fact that sometimes the way the playoffs are set up to the national tournament with who's in, you lose in the first round, you can go 19, 20 days without playing a game, and then all of a sudden you got to walk into the national tournament and be sharp, and it's really hard to do.
Lengthy battle along the boards. Still jamming away with just 8.5 to go here in the third period. And the Fleet will have to find a way to create some offense if they want to get back into this game. Agia tips it in now for Boston. Tried the short side, it was sealed off by Campbell, standing up. Now Kelly Babstock trying to tackle the Sceptres player. Monroe shoves her off.
For Boston right now, obviously you don't want to take a penalty, but you need a couple of things to get some life on your bench. What can you do to get your heart rate up? Whether it be a scramble in front of the net, a decent hit on the wall, whatever the case is, you have to manufacture some adrenaline to power you through these next 7.5 minutes. They'll take this one on the left side as Toppany's the only left one. She tries to get that play with Knight set back up again.
Another face-off win for Toppany. Mueller takes it below the goal line. Out to Morin. Just missed the net. Mueller trying to get it back. Knight alongside her. Toppany kicked out. The puck is loose right in front and they score! Hillary Knight with her second of the game has pulled the Fleet within one.
Kristen Campbell's a little hot. She thought she had this covered, but it was the heavy wrist shot by Toppany that got this all set up. She let one rip right toward the front of the net, and then it sat there loose, and the officials had their eyes on the puck at all times, and Knight just stayed with it. So she scored 2 goals from a combined 4 feet off the net, and both of them just like this with hard work, and you can clearly see that was not covered. The officials are talking about it. I don't know if it's going to get looked at more. It's not. Pitches point to the middle circle. That is the right call. That's a good goal.
Knight, now 15 goals total on the season. Again, second only to Marie-Philippe Poulin, who scored her 16th earlier tonight. Taken away by Rattray. Rattray shoots, save Campbell.
Rattray's known for big goals, especially in her NCAA career. She almost got another one with a great track back and pickpocket.
Anna Grant tried to go back to Rattray. Had it taken away by Woods. Keller holds his own for Boston. 6.5 to go. A battle for second place with Toronto just 2 points ahead of the Fleet in the standings. And the chants, go Fleet, go, ringing loud and clear here at Agamis Arena.
Boston gets a goal. Who does Courtney Kessler put on the ice? Shawsfall, Rattray, Brandt. 3 energy players that can go make things happen with physical play, and they almost get one out of it. Brilliant coaching move by Kessler to capitalize on the momentum and the right line to follow it up.
Talk about momentum. We have seen wild swings of it throughout this game. Most notably in the shots department. Back and forth all night long. And now a 1-goal game down the stretch. Hillary Knight up high for Brown. Back to Knight, centering pass. Right there's Morin. Tries to get the shot off. Instead, Skamura turns it up the other direction. Brown to Toppany. She'll tap it in as Knight joins her. Knight right in front had Mueller, but the pass just out of her reach. Now Knight to Toppany in the corner. Bumped along the boards by Carter. Knight tried to go back to Toppany. Girolamo to Greco.
Toronto doing everything they can. Boston doing everything they can. Low to high, high back down low. They are trying to get Toronto to turn the wrong way at some point and open up a lane to the net.
Lengthy shift for these Sceptres players. Mueller from below the goal line skates it out. Now feeds Keller at the point. Back to back to Mueller. Lines up and fires. Pad save, Campbell.
Boston offensively needs to change.
Toppany's gas. She will head to the bench for a change.
Right back to the Rattray group.
Here comes Brandt. Brandt tried to find Keller. Here comes Watts. Streaking in with speed. Darrell Watts. And a brilliant defensive move by Keller, but she's going to sit for that. You can see Keller's response to the penalty. It's a 1-goal lead for the Sceptres. A big moment here as Toronto will not only go to the power play, it's going to be a 5-on-3 because right after Keller got called for the hold, DiGirolamo went in and absolutely shoved Darrell Watts into the boards. So she's going to sit for roughing.
Now what's interesting here, the 3 players for Boston, no defenders. It's Shawsfall, Brandt, who's taking the face-off, and Rattray. So they are thinking potential offense here at a 5-on-3. They're thinking speed, but they've got 3 players out there with a whole lot of grit and snarl in their game.
This power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. Boston going to try to power through this tough mess. Sarah Nurse has it for the Sceptres. Skates around the cage, feeds Miller. Out to Watts. Watts goes back to Miller. Watts from the slot. Shoots, save, Frankel. Watts gets it back. Feeds Miller. Back to Watts. Watts shoots! Snipes! What a laser! And Darrell Watts reclaims a 2-goal lead with her second of the night.
Sceptres with real good patience, real good possession. And in a 5-on-3, you can pull your points in a whole lot closer. She went blocker the first time. Frankel made a great save. Changed it up and goes the other way. And hits the top of the net for a big goal over the glove of Erin Frankel. Boston was making a bit of a push. Took the penalty, took the second penalty. And nothing Frankel can do about that one. Keller comes out of the box. Both of them going together at the same time. You can pick who you want to come out. And Keller is the Boston player that came out.
Just an incredible shot by Darrell Watts. Again, second of the night, gives her 10 on the season. And she will represent Team Canada for the World Championship. Her first time on the senior national team. Well deserved.
That was labeled with a moment it left.
Sarah Nurse gains his own. Streaking toward the net. Broken up by the Fleet. So back to a 2-goal lead for the Sceptres with just over 3 minutes to go. Toronto trying to catch Montreal in the standings. Montreal leading its game 2-1. Hannah Miller up high for Fast. Power play continues at 5-on-4. Now Fast. Over to Watts. Miller from the circle back to Watts. Watts looking for the hat trick. Right in front, it's Nurse. Just over the cage. Another chance, short side, sealed off by Frankel. Watts is on hat trick watch. Hannah Miller rings it around the boards. 12 seconds to go on the penalty. Flanagan, fresh legs onto the ice now for the Sceptres as Harmon sends it behind the net. Power play over.
Well, the positive is it could have been worse. They still get nailed for 1. And a great job by Watts on a beautiful shot from 15 feet out. Some of Toronto's bigger name players have really had to cover a lot of ground with injuries to some of their other bigger name players. Spooner was out for a while, Carter was out for a while, Nurse was out for a while. Troy Ryan telling us earlier the bonus of all this was they were winning without their big guns in the lineup, which allowed a lot of other players to gain some confidence and play some big roles.
Flanagan looking for a tip, gets it. So Toronto chasing Montreal in the standings. Does not control its own destiny. It's still in very good position if they can hang on and win this in regulation. Frankel to the bench. Extra attacker on now for Boston. 1.5 to play. Morin over to Mueller. Now Knight. Brilliant pass. Maloney was there. Sent it wide. Izzy Daniel tried to send it toward the empty net. Morin turns it back for Boston. Final minute of the third period. Boston's 9-game point streak on the line. Toppany over to DiGirolamo. Turnbull has it. Takes a look at the empty net. Deflects off a skate and into the corner. Skamura looking for her second of the night. .30 seconds to go. Here's Hannah Brandt racing to catch up to the loose puck. But it comes all the way back into the corner in the Fleet end.
So obviously if you're Boston, you need a quick strike here to even set up the potential of a 4-4. You're wondering, do they put somebody on the dot who can just fire one off the drop, see if you can sneak a quick one. Really nice job by Toronto in the third period. They had some stretches of this game where Boston really skated them into the ground.
Knight, right on! Great save by Kristen Campbell to deny Hillary Knight of the hat trick. And another icing now for the Fleet.
If nothing else, Boston has established that they are going to be a big threat off the dot on the left wing side of the ice because they have generated a ton of chances off of this look. This time Brandt takes the draw, and she's been good on faceoffs all year.
And we will get a whistle as Megan Carter and Kelly Babstock go at it. Now Keller getting involved along with Renata Fast. Plenty of nastiness to set up what will be an interesting final meeting of the season between these two teams after the break.
These two teams can look in the mirror and see somewhat mirror images of each other. They're both really good teams. They're both well coached. They both have goaltending. They both can play with a physical edge to them. Each is counted on the power play or the special teams to be good for them. This wound up being a best of 5. This would be a great one.
They will drop the puck for the final ticks on the clock. And that'll do it on this game. A 4-2 win for the Sceptres. A hard-fought comeback for this Toronto team that will enjoy a 3-point victory, extending their point streak to 5 games at 4-0-1 in that span. A back-and-forth affair here at Aganis Arena. Once again, our final score 4-2. The Toronto Sceptres get the regulation win. For Dave Starman, Natalie Nouri, and our entire fantastic crew behind the scenes, I'm Jamie Hirsch saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.